10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and good golly, Miss Molly. Welcome to It's Only Talk and Roll, where today, you rebels, you metalheads, we're going to be diving deep into the pulsating heart of metal, the godfathers, indeed godmothers, whatever you want to call them. We're going to crank it up to 11 and talk about that most enduring band in rock and metal, the godfathers, as I say, Judas Priest, the priest. So join us as we unleash the Hellion, unchain the Metallion, if that's even such a thing, and chronicle the men responsible for all those years that we saw there of metal goodness and all that madness. So welcome to It's Only Talk and Roll. And it's time to raise some hell with Judas Priest. And it's going to be a hell of a show. We are indeed hell-bent for leather. Are we not, Imperatus?
Well, hell-bent for something, that's for sure.
Hell-bent for leather and studs. Fashion obviously plays a large part in Priest's milieu.
It does in metal in general, really.
Yeah. We may well be touching, a little bit of the fashion side of things. We have been joined by the leather rebel, Dougal.
It wouldn't let me it wouldn't let me upload a new face.
Dougal from the Magic Roundabout is with us. Nice. See, Brian was in the Magic Roundabout too. But
this is the last thing I had on your last show where I appeared.
Yeah, you switched to the Magic Roundabout. I do intend to do a show on British children's shows of the 60s and 70s because they were mental and psychedelic.
Oh, that won't be terrifying at all.
Yes, no, absolutely. They're actually more terrifying than anything you'd get today. I mean, what they were pumping into our heads was just, they should have been jailed for such psychedelic.
Yeah, I think that's illegal.
That's right. Well, welcome, Darius. So we got you and Imp here. So we have the ultimate Judas Priest fans are on the show.
Hell yeah.
Sure, we'll go with that.
Pope, unfortunately, couldn't be here because he's welding.
He's a huge fan.
I thought he's going to love this. You
yeah.
know? He's into welding today. So I said, it's metal work. Bring it to the show.
Yeah. Man, when I saw Judas Priest was the next, I was like, oh, Can I?
Yeah.
Should I take the afternoon off, or like?
Take the
I
rest
have to
of
be
the
there for
year
that.
off. Take the rest of the year off.
I might
I
disappear
will.
suddenly as usual.
Yeah. So,
Sorry,
greetings.
I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, it's all right. Greetings, everyone in the chat. We're going to be I feel it will be a small crowd today because, Priest isn't a normie thing. It's a metal thing. They did hit commercial heights in the 80s, of course, particularly in the US. I got to feeling that it's going to be a select crowd today. And by God, they are select. I don't know who selected them, but somebody did. So Lord Thoth, praise to Lord Thoth.
Are you saying that Judas Priest are obscure?
No, just, an acquired taste for normies. In fact, I saw a clip from that 70s show where they were kind of making fun of them. They gave, I didn't watch that show a lot.
How dare you?
He gave the CD or the tape to the old woman who wanted something relaxing for in the bath. She puts it on, it's Priest.
Hey, that's what I would listen to in the bath.
Our Mega Wrench D Bud Martin is here. Thank you, sir. He sent me a bunch of clips I'm going to use today, not necessarily Priest related. But Davina is here. Good to see you too, Davina. Massgrave, I know, is here. The wonderful Purple Valkyrie is here. So Purple. Always good to see Purple, don't you feel, guys?
Yeah.
I'm inclined to agree.
But good evening to you, lass. Lord Thoth, we said. The wonderful Anima Confusa, our great friend from across the water, is here. And if I miss anybody, we'll catch up with you later. And I'm expecting mass engagement here from Massgrave, particularly on tracks and albums and stuff. We are going to be looking at history of the band. We're going to look at some of the albums. We're going to we have a quiz. We have a 10 Judas Priest riffs quiz today.
Ooh, okay.
We might even rank the albums if I feel like it. I have that ranky thing that you use, tier list. And I got a few clips, but I also want to start with a poll, as the actress said to the bishop.
Ayo.
And in order to set this poll up, I'm going to show you the images first, and then don't answer yet until the poll is set up. We have to choose from 4 images of Rob Halford, and you must choose the one that is your favorite. The first 3 will be these. There is Kimono Rob. There is Biker Rob. And don't you think he reminds me of Steve Martin's girlfriend in The Jerk? Just Patty. Third image is the 1977 Stars in Their Eyes Robert Plant lookalike competition.
Oh my God.
And then the fourth image is the Rob we know and love now.
Oh,
Current Rob.
Yeah, that's how he looked when I saw him.
So I am about to write this poll, so you guys need to extemporize while I'm typing. Can you extemporize?
Fill time.
Tell me what Priest means to you, both of you.
As I said Friday, they're not really even in my top 10. So, I mean, I like them. Definitely respect everything they've done, but they've never really been one of those bands to just kind of grab me.
Now, is that, do you think, because that they're just a little bit too old-fashioned, maybe, like older metal, or?
No, a lot of the stuff I got into when I was younger, and then they just weren't something that I got into. Nobody I was hanging out with when I was growing up really listened to them, at least not until Painkiller came out.
Yeah, so what would be the 90s you're talking about?
Yeah, I mean, they were always recognized, and people liked them. It just wasn't something that people gravitated towards, at least not in my circle.
Yeah, and I don't think you could say they've necessarily been the biggest or most successful metal band, even for the longevity they've got. So that
depends on what you determine success to be.
I reevaluated them because at first I thought them as the band on the classic rock station who did "You Got Another Thing Coming." Breaking the Law wasn't even played on the radio around here. And so I didn't really pay much attention. I was at the radio station when Angel of Retribution came out, and we got a copy of that, and some of the
Oh, Darius is phasing already. The psychedelics have kicked in, or is it me?
No, I do believe it's Darius.
Darius. Well, he'll be here. He'll be back. I mean, it should have been you that got cut off because your heretical thoughts.
Me being a heretic, who would have thunk it?
But obviously, I am the right era and temperament to have been a huge Priest fan, certainly from Killing Machine onwards. British Steel is one of the 50 albums in my top 10 albums of all time.
Right.
That really sold it for me, that album, and certainly the 80s were peak Priest for me, and I've kind of come back to them over the years, especially as the Firepower was pretty good, and Invincible Shield is out, which is partly why we're having this Shield today.
Well, like I said when we did that review on Nick Weiser's channel, there was some tracks on there that definitely grabbed me.
Yeah. So again, just to remind you, there is a poll in the chat. Please have a go at it. We have choice number 1, Kimono Rob, Kimono My House, I think he's saying. Choice number 2, Biker Rob. Choice number 3, Robert Plant, Lookalike Rob. And choice number 4, Current Rob. Definitely the most acceptable of the Robs, in my opinion. But so that is the poll. We'll leave that up for a while. And we mentioned the type of metal, and one of it took a long time for Judas Priest. You can tell that they're not big in the zeitgeist with the normies because they had to wait until The Simpsons was awful before they actually got onto The Simpsons. And here's a little clip of them, and it started a controversy.
Respecting the law, respecting the law. Copyright law, copyright law.
Respecting the law. Ironic, we consider the copyright problems we have in YouTube, and which severely dampened my clip selection for today.
Oh, I can imagine. Jeez.
Oh, I'm struggling. And yet there's such great video footage of Priest out there from every era, but extremely difficult to use clips. That clip started off a huge controversy, well, from the 5 people that still watch The Simpsons, because they called them death metal.
Yeah, no.
This was a big problem.
Well, I'm not going to say it's a big problem, but it's one of those things where people use descriptors and they have no idea what they mean.
Yeah.
You know, death metal, as much as people joke about it, is a distinct genre. And Judas Priest doesn't even hit any of the things you would describe death metal as.
Not really, no. Not really. I mean, they predate it by some distance. I'd say they've got more in common with power and speed metal.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
But death metal, absolutely not. Although many of the songs that deal with death, of course, wouldn't be a metal band if they didn't. But
yeah.
So here's a fairly recent view of the current lineup. We're going to talk a little bit about the because I like to set the scene by talking about who's in the band. Who are these guys? Because some people might not really have heard of them. Who are these guys? And then go back to the history because there's some interesting pieces in there. A little bit of stats first. Originally formed in 1969, although none of that lineup lasted too long, and indeed are nothing to do with today's version of the band at all. The name survived though. Ian Hill is the longest serving member. He was in like the second iteration in 1970 of that band. So the bass player, Ian Hill. And KK has also been around for as long, but obviously he's not in the band now. Well, legally he might be, but 19 studio and 6 live albums, a respectable 50 million album sales. Not the most ever by any band, but respectable. And at least 1,000 plus gigs. There's something like 1,500 gigs listed for them. The name came from a Bob Dylan song. And I'm still waiting on the Bob Dylan Sings Priest album.
That would be horrifying in a number of ways, but interesting.
Breaking the law, like you got nothing coming. So, and pioneers of heavy metal. I think when I think metal and metal bands, Black Sabbath and Priest are the two that always spring to mind first. Sabbath predated them in the extent that they had big record contract much earlier and made a lot of headway before Priest ever really got going. But both are equally influential, I think. Possibly Sabbath or slightly more, but that's a, it's a personal opinion.
Yeah.
So Bob Dylan, yeah, the one of the original, I think the original bass player said, "Oh, I like that Bob Dylan song, which is called The Ballad of Frankie Lee and Judas Priest on the album John Wesley Harding." And he said, "Why don't we call ourselves Judas Priest?" I don't think Bob Dylan came up with the term. It's a euphemism for Jesus Christ, as in the days where you couldn't say Jesus Christ as a swearing thing. People say Judas Priest. But there you go. The Bob Dylan Judas Priest connection. Sounds like a great name for a cover band. So yeah, the band, and there they are back in their glory in 1969, 1970. I think Ian Hill is lurking on the in this picture, but the rest are possibly different. The drummer, is it Chaz Thompson? I think his name is, that drummer. He's certainly not been in the band for a while. This is more the Priest we know and love, of course. Or do we? We do know and love them, don't we? From probably peak 80s Priest there. So Rob Halford, obviously, although he's not been in the band, he's actually one of three vocalists the band had. Original founder, member of the band, and vocalist Al Atkins gave way to Rob Halford in 1973. And then he had a period, a sabbatical himself, when Tim Ripper Owens was in the band.
Yeah, that was in the 90s as well.
Yeah. Which, fair play. I've got no Tim Ripper Owens problems. He's a pretty good singer, and he's still out there with KK's Priest, so fair play to him. So we've had a few votes in the poll. Please, everybody else, get in there and vote for your favorite Rob. We'll leave it up for quite a while, just in case we get an influx of people. So Rob, in three of his guises, I think the only one where he wasn't singing in the band is the one on the right-hand side. But he is writing some lyrics there. But Rob's like a metal legend, and obviously we do have to address the fact that he's openly gay, and it always annoyed me when people went, "Oh, you metal fans are all misogynistic, anti-gay, blah blah blah." I said, bullshit.
Yeah, no one gave a shit when he came out.
No one gave a shit. Everyone loves Rob Halford, and no one gives
Most people's responses were, "Really? You don't say."
You don't say. So Rob's, and I've always liked the fact he's never been bullshit about it like they would be now. He's just open about it, which is, he's a normal, in all other respects. How can you put this? He's a normal metal guy.
Yeah.
Put it that way. He's a metal guy first, and his sexuality is his own business. Yes, he's incorporated some of that look, perhaps. He says he didn't, but nobody gave a shit, and stop calling metal fans bigots, because we're not. So go fuck yourselves. No one cares. Bill McClintock. So Danny has mentioned Bill McClintock. We will be talking about Bill McClintock, because by pure coincidence, he released a new mashup today of Judas Priest and Michael Jackson. So we'll be playing a clip of that. Yeah, nobody gives a flip about him. Rob is a legend. So other guys equally important in the, and there's been a lineup of so many guys in and out the lineup over the decades, but there's a core of guys we regard as Priest. Glenn Tipton is another one. sadly suffering from Parkinson's, and that restricts his involvement of the band, particularly live. But guitar virtuoso, fast, melodic, tight, precise, a lot of classical influences, great guitar player. Joined in 1974 as the second guitarist because they felt they needed a second guitar because it was just KK up till then. And has been with the band ever since, and is on every studio album, I think, I'm right in saying, along with Ian Hill. So, of course, the other part of the main legendary twin guitar attack, KK Downing, another guitar god, much more, I think, more raw and aggressive and powerful riffer than, excuse me, than Tipton. But that twin guitar thing they worked out was always so great, and everyone loves bands of twin guitar stuff.
Yeah,
It's just such a good having that.
It's always a good sound.
Oh God, love it. Yeah. It gives you the chance to have one guy riffing, one soloing, and then both guys doubling up on the riff, but with different sounds, and then playing off each other. And they were masters at it. I mean, another band I love that did that were Thin Lizzy, with
the dueling solos and everything too.
Yeah, I love that stuff. They're kind of, and they actually wanted the idea originally themselves because of Wishbone Ash, who were not a heavy metal band, but had that twin rock guitar thing going on. So that's why they wanted to add a second guitar player, and it worked. I think it pushed them right into a new avenue, you know, new intensity, new depth.
Yeah.
And KK is still out there doing it with Priest. KK's Priest, and we have a clip of them later. And of course, Ian, there's KK again in his glory. It's a Spinal Tap look. I like this picture. I hope he had a fire extinguisher standing nearby. Ian Hill on bass, sole continuous member of the band since 1970, and as he's been on every studio album. And it was he brought Rob Halford into the band because he was dating Rob Halford's sister. Not Rob Halford himself, Rob Halford's sister. He said, and they're from Birmingham in England, so yeah, this guy, he's a pretty good singer. Like, do you want to bring him into the band? Which is roughly how he would have said it, I think. But, so he's still there today, which is great, and still there on stage. Glenn Tipton's had to kind of ease off, but I like this picture. I don't know why, I just like it. I think it's the untrammeled hair. I'm jealous.
Could be.
Now, today's lineup includes Scott Travis on drums since 1989. He also played with a slightly different looking band, Racer X, who I quite like actually. But Racer X, there he is on the right. Much different, a different color palette from from Priest, I think.
That's definitely one way to put it.
Different color palette, yeah. Before we continue, our great friend Sumo Orange is here. Sumo super chatted for $2. Defenders of the Faith. That is all. Love, Sumo. Well, love to you too, buddy. Thanks for the $2. And that means you're going to have to get a video, and it could be this one. The joy of tailgating in the 80s, going to gigs.
Yeah.
Which I used to do, albeit in Britain. Slightly different form of tailgating.
It's still done in some places where they allow it.
Yeah. Purple is commenting on my Brummie accent. Well, it's more of a Wolverhampton accent. I can't quite do Brummie. It's a little bit different, but I do like slide away from Wolverhampton. It's Staffordshire. It's great. Anyway, it's Purple would know. She can judge me. Purple, you can judge me. Racer X are criminally underrated. I actually think they're pretty good. I have a few of their albums, but they're quite fun. Darius should be back with us in a second. But anyway, so Scott Travis. Then we have Richie Faulkner, guitar since 2011. I was in a pretty good band called Voodoo 6, who I need to listen to more of. I've got a couple of songs, but they were not bad, actually, I believe. Voodoo 6. And I do love his work with Christopher Lee, albeit just as a arranger. I don't think he played on that stuff, but he was the guy that made it metal. He said, no, you got to make it like this. This is how you arrange it. So, and live is phenomenal. Keeping up with the Flying V look, of course.
Yeah.
So Dougal is back, and he's still not talking to us.
Yeah, it's par for the course. I'm used to it by now.
Just when he was saying something interesting.
Oh, me? Oh,
yeah. Who else, Darius? There's three of us here.
It's not like three of us here. John is joining us. Des Wolf and William.
It took so long to connect. I didn't know if it was actually going to work on this browser. But yeah, no, I'm also setting up a new laptop to see if I can. If it keeps happening, that it keeps shutting down. I think Chrome is just too intensive. So
yeah.
So
anyway,
sucks up resources.
So D Bud Martin is saying he didn't understand a word I just said.
You ever tried voice recognition technology? No. They don't do Scottish accents.
And also our great friend Christian Delorme of Christian Delorme's Vinyl Revival has super chatted $2 Canadian, and I hope he got personal exemption from Justin Trudeau to do that. Could I get the Roxette vid? You certainly could, and later we'll be getting a touch of Judas Jackson as well, the other new Bill McClintock. But for you, you're going to get the Roxette mashup. So thank you, Christian. David Glenn is risking injury to life and limb for me by saying, I have to say, Burglary. It's a town in Scotland. It's Burglary. So burglary for you.
Like Larry Bird?
Like Larry Bird, yes. D-Bird Martin says, for you. And you're going to make me play all my new clips straight away by doing that. Because somebody mentioned sheep.
I was not fondling my lambswool sweater. What would I do something like that for?
So, purple burglar alarm. I don't think we'll ever get to Priest as soon as bad. Yes, where were we? And there's still a poll in the chat for all you new. There's people watching. Go do the poll. It's only on the YouTube side, I'm afraid, because I haven't figured out how to do it on the Rumble side. But over in Rumble, I would like to say that Yatafuka is here watching and ask, what's your favorite Judas song? Well, that's a pretty tricky question. We may address that as we continue talking about the music later. I think I probably could pick a favorite album, and it's obvious. It's British Steel. So, but then that's because I was like 16 when it came out, so it's burnt into my brain forever. British Steel, Screaming for Vengeance is pretty good. Song-wise, that's a little harder to do, I would say, although Electric Eye is right up there.
Oh. Mm-hmm. Was it burned or carved into your brain with British Steel?
It was burned into my brain and carved into my forehead. Probably when I was drunk at a gig, but this isn't about me. Well, maybe it is. I don't know. So Richie Faulkner on guitar, and a key member now of, well, certainly in production, but also live guitar playing is Andy Sneap, famed guitarist and producer, prolific producer, in fact. So Saxon, Priest, Accept, Dream Theater, Amon Amarth. You can say that.
Amon Amarth.
Thank you. Exodus, Megadeth. I don't know. The list goes on. Overkill. Man produces, I don't know, he's produced like 100 albums or something. top-notch producer. I love his work with Saxon and Priest. So that's the kind of the current lineup. And also we had the core members. But as we say, the band started way back in '69 with the founded by
Nice.
founded by this guy, who is a vocalist whose name is Al Atkins. And he left in '73 not because he wanted to leave, but he was the only one of the family and they were making no money and they were shit broke and they were starving. He says, I got to feed my family. So he left, which is when Rob Halford joined. He's still working today, still does albums. He's got bands that he plays in. He does like metal operas and stuff. Pretty damn good singer, Al Atkins. I must look into more of his material. But he was the guy that got the whole ball rolling in '69 and brought in Ian Hill and KK and guys like that. So well played on him, to him for that. Here he is in a version of the band with KK and Ian Hill and Chris Congo Campbell on the drums. This is from like 1972, I think. And they always had a rotating drum thing going on. They were like Spinal Tap. There's been at least 9 drummers, none of which have exploded, but sadly 2 of them have passed away. But I just wanted to play a little clip of the band, a recording of the band, just audio with Al Atkins on vocals from 1973. I think this is called Morpheus. So you can hear they're in their Black Sabbath phase.
Yeah. One way to put it.
And they were, Tony Iommi's management company were their managers. And they are fellow Brummies, so you could hear they hear a definite Sabbath influence to that. And John Hinch, I think, was the drummer at that point. So yeah, Chris Congo Campbell, drummer from '72 to '73. I think he thought he was Jeff Lynne, who was also from Birmingham. He probably could be Jeff Lynne's brother from another mother. Jeff Lynne of ELO. He had that kind of hair. John Ellis was also a drummer for a while, and then John Hinch here, 72 to 73, 75. He did the Rock and Rolla album. There's the 4-piece lineup. I love this card. This is an actual Tops card, made up like to look like one. Sorry. It's 1974 rookie rockers, KK, Glenn Tipton, Rob Halford, Ian Hill. It's pretty neat. Sorry, I'm not showing that, am I? There you go.
Whoa.
Oh, look at it.
Hey, Brian, did you see that?
Look, it's on the screen.
Did you see that we just switched places? It finally let me do it.
Oh, you've done it. Oh, you're in charge now, right? I'm just going to talk.
Yeah.
There's not enough kettle drums to be Jeff Lynne, as somebody said. David Glenn says the first time I saw Priest, they were opening for Kiss. At that point, I'd seen Kiss so many times that after Judas left the stage, I left the amphitheater, and I applaud your good taste. Well played, sir. I think that's the only logical choice, don't you, Imp?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, so
absolutely.
So I meant to show you. There's Chris Thompson, Chris Congo Thompson, with the Jeff Lynne haircut. Yeah,
that's not Rob Halford in the.
Well, it could be Rob Halford, but he'd be banned for being in blackface now. So, then John Ellis, John Hinch. I like this picture. That's a good one.
And everyone had that hair in the 80s.
Well, that's right. I had it even though I was bald. John Hinch sadly passed away 2021. As I say, he was on Rock and Rolla. Then Alan Moore was a guitarist drummer a couple of times. That's not Alan Moore, that's Simon Phillips. Alan Moore was drummer 71, 72, and then 75, 77 for Sad Wings of Destiny. And then this guy, Simon Phillips, did Sin After Sin. And Simon Phillips is a prolific session drummer. Jeff Beck, Peter Gabriel, Pete Townsend, and has played in Toto for a number of decades. So he's doing all right. And then Les Binks, Stained Class, Killing Machine, Unleashed in the East was his era. And he looks like me now if I had hair. But then the guy I remember, and it was peak Priest, was Dave Holland, 79 to 89. So British Steel to ram it down. Sadly also departed, R.I.P. to Dave Holland. So yeah, a rotating drum stool indeed. But Dave was on some of the biggest stuff that I love, so that's great. Others of note, of course, are Tim Ripper Owens, who joined.
Oh yeah.
Now we all know this famous story, which indeed was put in the movie Rockstar with Mark Wahlberg. Now the band go, "Oh, that's not really what happened. That's not about it." That's exactly what it's about. Like Rob Halford leaving the band and them hiring a sound-alike guy from a tribute band. So Tim Ripper Owens, and he's a great singer, not knocking him at all. He did.
No, I heard him in Iced Earth. He was great.
Yeah,
he was perfect for that band.
Yeah, so he did Jugulator to Live in London, and he's now in KK's Priest. We'll see a clip of him in action later, but yeah, so nothing against Tim Ripper Owens at all. He's an excellent singer, and his stuff was okay. Nothing wrong with it. One other little clip I wanted to play.
Scott Travis, the drummer from Painkiller.
I did mention.
You
Scott
did,
Travis,
okay,
and showed a picture of him, but you weren't listening because you were busy fighting.
No, I think
fighting your computer.
Well, yeah. No, I had it. I was listening. I was just.
I know. I'm just
kidding. Back in.
So another quick video from back in the day of after Atkins left and Halford joined. This is one of the first shows Rob Halford ever did, audio only, and they're doing the song, a song called "Red Light Lady," which became "Victim of Changes," which is still a song that I love, and they play all.
Yeah,
that's the only early song that's maintained in their set all the way through. Still sounding like Black Sabbath, though. It's very Sabbath. Yeah, and Rob.
That was from Sad Wings of Destiny, wasn't it?
I think so, yeah. Yes. And it's still a great track.
A great album.
There's a little clip of it in the opening montage with the twin guitar stuff. Just that, and that's a beautiful, beautiful section. Great song. And it doesn't sound like Priest of today, that at all. It's one guitar, KK, a lot more aggressive, very Sabbath-esque. It took them a while to get their mojo together, so to speak. So that guitar style
people
stuff.
Always talk about how forgettable Rock-a-Rolla was, their first album, but then honestly, Sad Wings is only their second album, and they're already like raising the bar a lot. I still listen to that album.
So I think looking at the albums, we had the two early albums, Rock and Rolla and Sad Wings of Destiny. At that point, they were still more of a sort of hangover, psychedelic, hard rock, bluesy band that hadn't developed I mean, metal itself wasn't really a known quantity even in those days. It was like, what is metal? You know, some bands were regarded as that. And they hadn't quite developed that style, but there's some interesting stuff on those albums. If you like more blues rock, psychedelic rock, hard rock stuff, as opposed to metal. And then it was...
and if you like a rock-a-rolla woman for a rock-a-rolla man.
Yeah, that's right.
If you're into that kind of thing.
If you're into that kind of thing. And we'll talk about this a little more later, but they really didn't start to get into this, what we became Judas Priest, until the next three albums. Sin After Sin, Stained Glass, and Killing Machine, which was titled Hellbent for Leather in the US.
Yeah.
So either one is a
less
great
violent.
Either one is a great title. So we'll come back to the albums stuff. But yeah, that I do love this picture. I think I'm not quite sure which fashion Rob's trying to do there. Is it glam? Is he auditioning for like a David Bowie band, Roxy Music? Not quite sure, but it's an interesting picture nonetheless. So, and please go to the poll and vote in the poll.
Nothing against Roxy Music, but I never Judas Priest.
And then they're starting to get more. Rob's getting a bit more leathery here. I'm not quite sure what year this is from, but
he hasn't been to the bondage shop yet.
The rest of them are in 38 Special, and he's in the bondage shop. Close. It's getting closer, and then it's full on studs.
Twink face. Yeah.
It's
now I've heard that it was his way of trying to tell the audience that that he was gay, but nobody got it. And so
well, it's funny as when you see all the girls.
He bought all that stuff at a bondage shop.
Yeah, but I mean, he says himself he wasn't that into all that. It just was a look that he felt he could do that would differentiate them. Although Freddie Mercury dressed like this too, of course. But the rest of them were pretty keen. The rest of them did that thing that working class Birmingham metal bands do. They look like they were dressed in the gear, but they still look like bricklayers. Like if you look at David Bowie's Spiders from Mars, Mick Ronson, Trevor Boulder, and sorry, I forgot the other member. They look like brickies in glam gear. But this is a famous look, of course.
Glam, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, glam. Yeah, no, because that was the glam time.
Yeah, but now they're carving out a niche of their own in terms of the look. I'm not sure Ian Hill
is glam in a way. It's leather glam.
Yeah, I'm not sure Ian Hill is entirely comfortable. This, of course, is much more flamboyant. This is an 80s. This is glam meets Haircut 100.
They're working more color into the leather, red leather. Yeah.
Red leather, yellow leather. That would be the saying.
This is the Turbo Lover era.
It's the Turbo, and they did love a Turbo, apparently. Unleashed in the East cover. This is the classic look for me. Macho and strangely alluring at the same time.
Yeah.
There he is. Were cool. He is cool.
Still right. When I saw them in 2008 at Metal Masters, he was still riding out on the motorcycle, but he didn't ride around on it. He just rode out and then put out the kickstand and got off.
Well, he doesn't want to break any limbs. He's getting old.
And we knew that. The audience knew that. And but it's still cool that he was doing it.
Yeah, this is certainly into the Scott Travis era now. So 91 onwards, not quite sure when, but that's a pretty cool look. And then today with this is their kind of logo now, and this is live recently. And that's the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame thing, I think. Where KK
tassels like a gay cowboy.
Yeah, where KK was back on stage with them, although they're definitely not pals anymore. And then this is a much blacker metal look now that they have. Rob still works a bit of glam in.
Yeah,
though.
but that T-shirt is from, I believe that's from the Nostradamus album.
Yeah.
It's like an occult
Yes, it is.
diagram.
Yeah. But yeah, we talked about KK and Glenn. I mean, that twin guitar thing is a huge part of the sound, complementing each other. You hear it in virtually every track that they managed to get that harmony stuff in there, the virtuoso soloing back and forward. I think they set a standard there. Like hundreds of bands have copied since. Yeah,
absolutely.
And they did, but they weren't identical because Tipton was more kind of fluid and Downing's more aggressive, I think. I would say. But yeah, the Blue Oyster part.
Yeah, like Kerry King and Jeff Hanneman and Slayer, where Hanneman was the more I guess melodic player, and King was just total chaos. Yeah.
Yes. Sumo says even the gayest gay men were somehow more manly than today's straight males back in the 70s and 80s. That's true.
Yeah, 80s gay. That's why we called it that.
Yeah, nobody's going to accuse Rob Halford of being anything other than a bloke,
Right. Well, in the 80s, the straight guys were dressed as women, and the gay guys were dressed like bikers, like Rob Halford. So it was a bit counterintuitive. I apologize if I cut you off at any point. I think I have a
not at all,
half-second delay going on.
You do have a delay going on.
Yeah.
Imp has a 5-minute delay going on right now.
I think it's a proxy delay because I'm getting bounced around the world, but I do everything by proxy.
So, Proxy Music, that would be your favorite band.
Oh my God. I gotta write that down.
I have to wait for So there's a question who is the best twin guitar duo? If I can get that up on screen. Downing and Tipton or Smith and Harris. For me, Downing and Tipton. Nothing against Smith and Harris, but Downing and Tipton, I think, have the edge for me. A big fan of Robertson and Scott Gorham in Thin Lizzy, but they had a much shorter time scale to do it in. Those are the three that always spring to mind when I think of twin guitar bands. And Wishbone Ash, but they're not a metal band.
Wishbone Ash, that's a Brian band.
Oh yeah. So let's close the poll. We've had 15 massive votes on the poll. We will end that poll. We've ended it. And the results are in. Let me call up the images again to remind us of our choices. Our choices were Kimono Rob, Biker Rob, Robert Plant Rob, and Current Rob. And the results are in. And I'm going to copy this and paste it because it hasn't come up yet on the... There we go. So the winner by a distance, which says more about you guys than about Rob, is Biker Rob. We got 80% of the votes. Current Rob got 13. Kimono Rob got 6%, which I figure is one vote. I wonder who that was. And lookalike Robert Plant, lookalike Rob gets 0 votes, probably quite rightly. So thank you for voting in that poll.
The Council of Rob.
The Council of Rob.
That's a Fantastic Four reference.
Council of Robs.
Borrowed by Rick and Morty. The Council of Reeds. Yeah. All the various. Was that one vote from you, by the way, for the Kimono Rob?
Well, I can't vote in my own poll, but if I could have, that would have been it. Kimono My House. That's the one. I think that was a Sparks album.
Papa Smurf Rob. Yeah, pretty much.
So
I know which one you're talking about. So yeah.
So we'll play another. Let's play.
That's the one
clip.
I saw.
That's the one I saw. Yeah, we'll play another clip because why not? Very difficult for me to get clips that were not Immediately copyright blocked, never mind claimed. But here's a live one of it. I wanted to show KK's Priest from very recently, I think maybe last year, doing one of my favorite Priest covers, the Green Manalishi Fleetwood Mac song, of course. Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac.
You told me that it was one of theirs.
Yeah, Peter Green's Fleetwood Mac did the Green Manalishi, and their version was pretty heavy too. Not as heavy as Priest, but this is KK's Priest with Ripper Owens. Yeah, the Green Manalishi with the two-pronged crown. One of the few cover versions that Priest do. They really didn't do a lot. Funnily enough, yeah, I love that song. One of the covers they did a couple of weird ones, like they did a folk one by Joan Baez or something. However, the
Diamonds
cover
and Rust. No, that was good too.
Diamonds and Rust. Yeah,
no, I love that one too.
It's a great version as well. Yeah, Diamonds and Rust. They did, but what the cover that got them into a lot of difficulty years later, and then they ended up in court because of this, was the Better by Me, Better Than You, or I always get that the wrong way around. One of these days I'll get that the right way around. Better by You, Better Than Me. I always say Better by You, Better Than Me. No, Better by You, Better Than Me. I always get that wrong, and a lot of people don't know that isn't.
Oh, Bayou! Shout out to Joe down on the Bayou.
Hey Joe, where are you going with that Judas Priest album in your hand? That song. So everyone knows, and I don't know. We don't want to get too much into the detail because it's about a subject you can't talk about on YouTube, but a couple of guys decided to listen to that album whilst under the influence, and then the guns came out. And years later, they ended up in court being sued for causing this. And they had the whole satanic panic thing. Judas Priest were right caught up in that, where the cancel culture was coming from that side. And it was all about playing the record backwards, and it said, I'm the devil, you must kill yourself, which was just garbage. Absolute garbage.
Oh, and their name, anti-Christian Judas Priest.
Yeah,
I mean, my goodness.
It's not really, if you think about it. It's a mild euphemism for Jesus Christ, which Bob Dylan used in a song. But yeah, they got the whole thing was amped up to the 90s.
But if you're Tipper and you're terrified because you just bought the new Prince album for your daughter and she heard Darling Nikki, then everything sounds like anti-Christian satanic worship, even Judas Priest.
Exactly. So they ended up in court having to defend the song and defend every bit of the notes and the singing on it and all this backwards shit. They won. They were completely exonerated of all. Yeah. Thank you, Davina, for all this. But anyway, what at the time people didn't realize was this song, they didn't even write it. So they're being blamed for this song. All they did was cover it. And it was actually by the band Spooky Tooth, composed by Gary Wright, the same Gary Wright who did Dreamweaver.
Oh, wow.
Weaver, dude. So, yeah, that's a song that's clearly going to make you want to go out and throw yourself off.
You can get me through the night.
That's right.
And help me to build web pages.
Now, if Judas Priest had done Dreamweaver, I think that would have been a better cover.
Dude, I prefer their covers to the original versions of several songs.
Yeah. But
but
Spooky Tooth.
No, I love all their covers.
Yeah, Spooky Tooth did it, written by Gary Wright. That band actually contained guys like Luther Grosvenor, who went on to be Ariel Bender in Mott the Hoople, changed his name. Great band, Mott the Hoople. and then
I can't not laugh at that name.
I know, Ariel Bender. And then later, not on that recording of theirs, but later Mick Jones of Foreigner joined the band. I was in them for a while. So quite I've got a couple of their LPs on vinyl. Quite a good band, bluesy rock stuff, but much lighter than Priest, obviously. But poor Priest bore the brunt of that. And the weird thing about it was that, we played the record backwards and we heard all this stuff on it. Well, who the hell plays a record backwards? Like, there's better ways of putting subliminal messages in things. I've never understood that, playing it backwards. Like, oh yeah, I'm going to play all my records backwards in case there's a subliminal message on them.
Well, they only started putting it on the records because it became such a thing. It was a meme.
Yeah. So the weirdest of weird things. Whenever that happens, I always think like this. It causes me.
Was that
pain.
part of the game? Because that was Painkiller.
That wasn't part of the game. Now, I'd like to do the game, but there's only 3 of us on the panel so far. I was kind of waiting for John Das Wolfen to join in because he would stand a good chance of winning as Pope isn't here. But
I don't think Imperatus is back yet. He stepped out for a minute.
He did. So instead of doing that, I think we did mention briefly, because I do want to get to the game and then talk about the albums. We mentioned briefly the movie Rockstar with a very badly miscast Jennifer Aniston. But then again, you can say that about every movie she's in. Did I just voice a horrible opinion about Jennifer Aniston? I don't know. Mark Wahlberg starring as the Tim Ripper Owens character, taking over an established band because he's in a cover band, and then eventually rebelling because he wouldn't do his songs. I don't think that happened to Tim Ripper Owens. I think it was just that Rob wanted back. So, not a bad movie. It was Steel Dragon is the band. Steel Dragon. And the not Dragon.
Oh, in the movie, yeah.
Yeah, it's in the band. And there were some proper musicians in it. Not a bad movie, and it is really Judas Priest based. What's not based? And Spinal Tap, of course. Yeah, Spinal Tap has a lot of Priest in it. I wouldn't say it was about Priest, but there's a lot of Priest in it, I think. Particularly the revolving.
Oh, is that Jennifer Aniston there?
That is Jennifer Aniston. She's on the left.
Yeah, I actually have not.
Oh no, that's Mark Wahlberg. Sorry, Mark Wahlberg actually looks more of a girl.
Yeah,
it's not
Marky
a bad
Mark
movie,
and she is the Funky Bunch.
She is the funk. She's well funked in this movie. That's for sure. Not a bad movie, but it's about Priest. That's a bad joke, isn't it? Terrible joke. So let's just take a quick. Spooky Tooth again. Should we do the quiz? I was kind of hanging on for John. We'll hang on a bit longer to see if he can make it in. He might help us make it through the
somebody
night.
howl at the moon, get him in here.
He might help us make it through the night. Yeah, as over in Rumble, as Yatafuka says, I don't think anyone has copied that dual style. I think many have copied it, but you can't beat Tipton and Downing, the original thing. Yeah, you can't tell me Christopher Guest isn't making fun of Bruce Dickinson. Our Imperatus has just rejoined us. Hello, sir.
Still having some audio issues.
I was going to try to add him.
He's back. So we were. I think we'll take a
Welcome
quick look
back.
Welcome back, my friends. Let's take a quick look thugh the studio
To the show that
albums.
never ends.
to the show that never ends. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Was that an ELP reference you just did?
It is an
Snuck in there?
ELP. It is an ELP reference. So early
That's,
albums.
Carnival number 9.
Carnival number 9, correct.
It's the deep cuts that keep people coming back. You know,
the first cuts are the deepest. Exactly. So the albums, early ones, yeah, you know, it's Priest, but not as we know them. Then they're starting to get their shit together with Sin After Sin, Stained Class, and Killing Machine. I wouldn't say they were particularly at their heaviest. There was a little bit more of a kind of a speed thing going on. Speed metal thing, even some new wave influence here and there, a little bit. But when the Exciter, for instance,
well, they were figuring it out, you know,
is a great track. Which Exciter's on Stained Class, I think, isn't it? I always get these wrong. Hellbent for Leathers and Killing Machine. So they're starting.
I think so.
Yeah.
I just listened to Stained Class recently. I think you're right, and it was actually one that I haven't listened to that many times. I forgot how good it was.
It's pretty good. I like them more and more. At
the
the time I was like, man, these are good albums. It wasn't until the next bunch, like British Steel, absolutely enormous. This saw them appearing on. They hit the charts. They had hit singles in Britain: "Breaking the Law," "Living After Midnight," "United," "Metal Gods." They hit the big time. They were on variety shows performing, which was, you know, so suddenly from a niche band, they became, or niche as you North Americans say, they became huge. And I think they kept that peak up quite a bit. I mean, Screaming for Vengeance is possibly my second or equal favorite album. But, you know, Point of Entry is not bad.
Giggity.
It's all right. Giggity.
Yeah. Well, it has Desert Plains on it.
Desert Plains is
probably
brilliant track.
The best song I ever call on that one.
It's a brilliant track, yeah. Screaming for Vengeance, Defenders of the Faith, which is a pretty awesome album too. Freewheel Burning, for instance.
I tell you
great
what,
track.
you know, here, when you mention Defenders of the Faith, that's I gotta.
who's playing the zip?
Man, no, that's my mouse bag, but I just have.
I was going to say, who plays the zip on the jeans in that one? There are some songs that have people doing that. There's a 10cc song where it's credited Eric Stewart, Levi Zip, and you do hear the zip going down at one point. So I wonder how many takes they did.
Well, I mean, Defenders of the Faith is probably one that I've listened to the most. I don't know if more than Painkiller, but I had a copy in my car that I would just listen to on loop. Once I sort of had that epiphany moment of how awesome they were, and I found that one, it was just I just fell in love with that one.
It's a great album. Like Freewheel Burning, Some Heads Are Gonna Roll. Defenders of the
Jawbreaker,
The Sentinel, Jawbreaker. It's a great album. They were on a roll at this point.
Yeah, the Sentinel, yeah.
I mean, Point of Entry, Heading Out to the Highway, which Joe isn't here today. That's his favorite, one of his favorite songs. Desert Plains, which is
it also had Eat Me Alive.
Is that on Point of Entry?
I'm trying to remember because
not sure it is. I don't know every track off by heart.
I thought it was on Ram It Down, but yeah, I'll have to double check. But because that was the one that really upset Tipper.
Oh yeah, well, even the title "Ram It Down." I said did another cover on "Ram It Down," Johnny Be Good, which is one of the few covers. Screaming for Vengeance.
Yeah.
Is Screaming for Vengeance, right? The Hellion, Electric Eye, Pain and Pleasure. Yeah. That must be a Rob Halford song. You've got Another Thing Coming.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, these were the hit, and they were having hits in America now, which was good. They actually, and then the tours.
The last track was "Prisoner of Your Eyes."
Yeah. Legendary tours in America at this point, and in Japan, out in Japan. Eat Me Alive. What album was that on? Or is that just in your mind?
Well,
but anyway,
no, I thought it was on Defenders because I had forgotten that it was on such an early album,
I
considering when
can't
the
remember.
all those trials were going on. Defenders is their best album. Thank you, Sumo Orange. It ends with their worst song ever.
And Jawbreaker is my favorite Priest song, despite what Rob says it's about. Can you dislocate? Can you dislocate your jaw? But this era,
no, it's a great song.
It is. This era was peak Priest, peak 80s Priest. Well, Painkillers 1991, I guess. But then we forgot one, Turbo. I put it in a class of its own. Turbo is in a class of its
Defenders
own.
of the Faith, Eat Me Alive.
Yeah.
That's right.
Turbo is on its own, and it's because it's maligned by many people. I actually think it's actually pretty good. I like the kind of glam rock synth approach in small doses. And Turbo Lover's pretty good.
Yeah, the video was not good.
No.
But I really don't mind that song.
Turbo Lover's a pretty good single, yeah. Yeah, in the chat, Sumo's giving us some of his likes, guys. Keep your what you're thinking. Oh, the covers, as Davina says, the cover art has always been fantastic. Beautiful cover art. I think some of it's done by the same guy that did the Judas Priest graphic and the font for the Judas Priest logo, which I love. Which you can download. You can get that Judas Priest logo and download it and use it for stuff. Turbo.
Oh, cool.
Bit of a misfire, but I do like Turbo Lover. And then
not
the
at
Tim
all
Ripper,
a suggestive image on the cover.
Not at all. Tim Ripper Owens era. Not bad albums. Jugulator, Demolition. I wouldn't class them as
Jugulator's a cool name, though.
It is a cool name. I don't listen to them that much. Not because of I've got anything against Tim Ripper Owens. I think they were just trying to be a little bit thrashy. Like they were trying a little harder and maybe a little too hard. I don't know. And then, of course, Demolition. Well, you know, it's an album. They were trying to be a little bit more, what's the word? Concept-y, I think. And it's true.
Like Nostradamus.
It's true they didn't let Tim Ripper Owens write anything. It was all Tipton and Downing. Whereas, funnily enough, Halford and Hill wrote a lot of stuff in the earlier albums. So they're okay, though. They're not bad albums. They've got their high points. And then, of course, Halford returns. Yeah. And there's some great stuff in here, particularly Firepower, which is a kick-ass album.
You know, I was mentioning Angel of Retribution right before I overheated earlier, and that was a new album when I was doing the radio show in college, and I wouldn't have appreciated all the references in was it Deal with the Devil, the second track, which basically is a long series of references to past songs that they've done that are beloved, and having then gone back and discovered their entire catalog in order, because that's how I used to do it. I would just binge like a discography, and then hearing that song is so much more meaningful,
Yeah, it helps if you get the references.
People had waited for this return.
Yeah, and it's a good album
because this was the big return. It is. It really is.
It's a shame the last track, Loch Ness, is about Scotland because it isn't that great. But
no. But the album begins with White Bolts of Lightning.
Indeed.
Came out of nowhere. Dude, it just strikes right
Christian,
out the gate.
Christian say, is it me or do all these Priest songs sound homoerotic or just giggity? I think just giggity. Giggity. And as Sumo says that the go that like from Breaking the Law to Painkiller, that is one phenomenal list of albums, in my opinion. With dozens of great songs spread across them. But when Rob came back, Nostradamus is like they're trying to be Rush. I don't particularly like it. Angel Retribution was good. Redeemer of Souls isn't bad. Firepower is outstanding. And I like Invincible Shield, but I need more times. I've listened to it like 5 times. I need more, but there's at least 2 killer tracks on there, which is the Serpent and the King. And then the final track where he's singing about Dio. Oh Jesus, my
Dio,
mind is
who
going
was on
blank.
the Metal
Giants in the
Masters
Sky.
where I saw both of them.
Yeah, Giants in the Sky, singing about Lemmy and Dio, who are good pals.
That's so
So that's the studio albums. I didn't want to talk about all the live albums, but for me,
I actually like Nostradamus.
It's okay. It's a bit long. I do
it,
love.
I'm just saying I like it.
I know, and I'm glad you like it. I like you, and that's what counts. So,
don't say it like that.
But it's funny, isn't it?
Tries bonus so live, hard, doesn't he, folks? Let's give him a hand.
Bonus live album, which I love, is Unleashed in the East, which is peak.
Yes.
Peak late 70s, early 80s. Priest. It's just awesome. They rock hard on this. We don't talk about the other live albums because there's loads of them. But. So that's the list of studio albums. Giants in the Sky is a great track. Serpent and the King is a great track. Let's remind ourselves of just how good they can be, though, while we play another video track. One tested for copyright purposes, I believe. This is a couple of from the Power Trip Festival last year. A couple of fan-made clips of "Living After Midnight." Of course, a classic. That dress, as Lord Thoth says, it's not a dress, not a tumor. Hey, I've lost Leather Rebel now as well. Everyone's deserted me. I'm here on my own.
No. You've I had to check when you said that. No, I'm still here.
You don't clap at metal as soon as you go, or you pour beer over yourself and everybody else around you. That's usually what I did. Everyone was like drinking beer off their clothes all night because they were soaked.
That's always special.
That's the era I come from. Oh, I love this, and the beer goes everywhere. Interestingly enough, for those who are
headbang
into
and
this
fist
thing,
bump to metal, yeah.
For those who are into this thing, I was curious about. I mean, it's hard to tell which songs are the most popular indie bands, but Priest Setlist.fm has a great thing where it lists the number of times a band has played a song live. Doesn't mean it's the best one or most popular.
Oh, wow.
Priest have played Breaking the Law 1,345 times live. I wonder if they've memorized it yet.
I also wonder how completely accurate that is.
Oh, it could be bullshit, yeah. I mean, they've got all these set lists here. Who knows? It's as accurate as you might get, because I would imagine they do play it a lot.
Oh, I'm sure.
But I was surprised by number 2, which is Hellbent for Leather.
That's not that surprising,
I'm
really.
not surprised by that.
I would have thought Living After Midnight would have come above that. But then again, it predated it. So it's had
You
more
got another
opportunity.
thing coming.
Then you get another thing coming. And then Victim of Changes, so an early track which has stood the test of time. Metal Gods, another British deal. Electric Eye.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. Then the Green Man Alishi. Then Painkiller, then Beyond the Realms of Death. That's an interesting top 10. I see Diamonds and Rust is on there in that top list.
Oh, hell yeah.
I would say most of these tracks are ones you would expect them to play live.
Yeah, Beyond the Realms of Death. Yeah.
Yeah.
Painkiller, of course.
Heading out on the highway. Grinder, which is in no way...
Between the Hammer and the Anvil.
Yeah. It's no way a Rob Halford
Looking
song.
for meat.
Some Heads Are Gonna Roll is way down there. But now we're getting into stuff with some of the modern stuff. They're only played it in a number of gigs because it's new.
Cow
so.
Patrol, yeah.
Yeah.
Love Bites. Oh, man. That's...
It's not a bad list, though, is it? I mean...
No. Well, no.
So, kind of like that list.
Devil's Child, that's a good one.
Welcome to Horror Stream over on Rumble. Thank you for joining us. As always, the Rumble stream is the one that will remain untrimmed for copyright purposes after the show. Although I put so much effort before the show into copyright stuff, and yet still get caught out. And anyone that's watching on Twitter, hello to you too. Hello. So I guess we're going to have to do the Guess the Riff quiz because I've been waiting for John, but he's not here. So it will be us three. Well, I can't take part because I know the answers. You two and the chat if you don't get it. So who gets the most? There's only 10. But whoever gets the most is the winner. So it's our... it took great pains to put this video together that we're going to use for this. So it was very painful. Here we go. So I got to open this up. And now I'm going to be master of ceremonies with this.
Well, give you pain and it gives you pleasure.
So, indeed. So, if you know the track, just shout up. Shout up. Or you may get a if you're correct or a if you're wrong. So,
all right. I am on a slight delay.
Obviously, you guys have got an advantage over the chat. But if the chat call it out pretty quick, even if you get it, they get a point too. And you know what the prize is? Bugger all is the prize. Because I'm Scottish.
The answer is Ike Turner and Rocket 88.
That's right. Because you know I'm Scottish.
I don't get, I don't
you
get
know
that one, but I'm sure it's really...
it's the original
really
rock and roll song, the first one ever. Anyway.
There's no more than what God gave me, you Puritan pukes.
That's for the,
oh
that's for the cancel culture. That's for the cancel culturals.
That's you. That's your clip for yourself.
I've got another one. I got another one.
There's no such thing as Scotchtoberfest. There's not. You used me, Skinner! You used me!
There should be a Scotchtoberfest. Right. So,
I love Willie.
So Darius, Imp, and Chat. We have 3 competitors. You can obviously, if you're watching the replay, you can play along. But, you know, you won't get any points. This isn't a Priest riff, by the way. It's just backing music. So, number 1 coming up. Are you all ready? Easy one. Come on, that's an easy one. The chat will catch up. Waiting for the chat. Come on.
I know. No, I
thought that was one of the easiest ones.
If it's that easy, it's got to be on British Steel.
That's right.
No.
Don't tell me nobody's going to get this. Even on the chat. Somebody in the chat must know what that riff is. It's not you. No.
Yeah.
No. I'll play it again. Oh, not started already. Here we go. Oh, David says he didn't hear anything. But you can hear it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I could hear it too.
I need to confirm. Could anybody else in the chat hear that? No, I did. Okay, he's heard it this time. Right. Well, I'll give you a third go at this one. That's not the riff. It's coming up. And War Machine has the correct answer.
Ah, yes.
So that's one for the chat. Okay, next one coming right up. This one is, there's a mixture of old, new, and obscure and popular in these. So. It was kind of a soccer team song, United. That's the way they presented it, yeah. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Right. This is harder than I thought. I thought I knew everything so intimately.
I know the riff, I just can't place it.
This is a new one. It's not Freewheel Burning. Hang on. Here we go. Play it again. I'll give you a clue. It's from the new album. Although Freewheel Burning, maybe I don't think it's Freewheel Burning, but I'm pretty sure it's the new one. I could be wrong. I mean, it wouldn't be the first time. Serpent and the Snake.
Has that doodle-doo.
Sumo's got it. It is the Serpent and the Snake, my favorite track so far from Invincible Shield.
Good job.
The King. All right, you bums. So we have two. The chat's winning by a mile right now.
I know.
Okay, this is the third one. This is an older one.
Oh, is that Freewheel Burning?
Nope, we've mentioned this track already.
No.
It got us all tumescent.
Right.
Got us all what?
It was like a French tickler. This is This is harder than I thought. I thought this would be easy if Pope and I've just made myself. How do I get that? There we go. I'm going to try playing that one more time. So it was itchy and scratchy. It's on stained glass. There's a clue. Nobody. This is proving to be a massive success. This quiz that I spent 2 hours putting together.
Is it better by you, better than me?
No, I'm calling it. Nobody's getting it, so I'll just give you all the answer.
All right.
Exciter.
Yeah.
So
that was the hint because it got us to messing. It's Exciter. Yeah.
Right. So I'm giving myself.
Yeah, I know, Matt. I feel terrible for not knowing these. Yeah.
I'm giving myself a point for that one. Right. Here's another. This one's from Painkiller. I'll give you a clue straight away.
Oh, is that Between the Hammer and the Anvil?
No, it is not.
No.
You can have another guess. Just don't go to the album and list all the tracks. We will give it one more play.
Yeah, I'm here one more time.
Obviously, I should have gone for the really obvious ones. Right, we'll play this one more time.
Is that All Guns Blazing?
That is correct. It is All Guns Blazing. I guess my favorite songs are not everybody else's. We've mentioned this next track as well before. We mentioned it earlier.
Can you play it one more time? It's choppy for me.
That's not what it's called. Oops, sorry. I went too far back. If taking that too far, I'll play it out. Masgrave's got it.
Living After Midnight?
No, Masgrave is correct. The chat gets it. It is Desert Plains.
Wow.
The plains. The plains.
Desert Plains.
I told you we'd mentioned it earlier. Nobody's ever going to get this one then. So here's the next one.
I'm the one that brought it up earlier.
You did exactly. I thought you'd get that straight away.
That isn't helping your argument, Darius.
Right, next one up. Listen closely. I will only say this once.
It's not Nostradamus, is it?
Say again?
It's not Nostradamus, is it?
No. But it is a fairly new one. Like not in the new album, but
right.
This era. I will go back and tweak you for it again. Hi, Nurse. I'll give you a clue. It shares a title with a Bond movie.
Oh, Thunderball.
Close, but no cigar. No. Hi, Nurse, and hi, Courtney. Haiku, in fact. Nobody in the chat. Okay, well, that one's obviously too obscure. So that's 2 points to me.
Oh, yeah, Firefly.
I win.
Viva el Presidente!
If you don't get the next one...
I know a lot of people who would prefer that as the theme from the movie over the actual theme from the movie Spectre.
Yeah, well, I would. I'd prefer that. But this next one, if you don't get this, you deserve to be hung, drawn, quartered, and boiled in oil, and then lightly tickled on the feet.
Oh, God. Come on now.
Come on now.
That's Electric Eye.
Yeah, it's the easiest one of them. Well done, Darius. Imp's not getting any of them.
I know the riff, but I couldn't place the song.
Yeah, Electric
That's the problem
Eye.
with a lot of these.
The chat. I'm going to give the chat a point for that too, because Masgrave's on a delay and he got it. So that was indeed Electric Eye.
Right, but even if you played the intro song, the Hellion, I would have got that.
I could have played the Hellion, but I can only play 6 seconds without going into copyright issues. So that was Electric Eye. Well done to Darius and the chat. This is another easy one coming up. Well, I think it is, but. We've mentioned it. I'll play it again.
Oh, yeah, no, hold on. In my head, I'm hearing it.
Hang on. I'll just let there. Here we go. I'll play it again. Yadafuka, thank you for having a go at these. I appreciate you trying. You haven't got any so far, but
some
keep
heads are
trying.
gonna roll.
Correct. Well played.
Yeah, it took me a sec.
Some heads are gonna roll. I like the fact that the Judas Priest font makes it look like some meads are going to roll. So, like ale.
It does, yeah.
Right.
It's like horns, yeah.
You'll be lucky to know there's only 2 left. And they're easy ones. I made these ones easy, okay? The current scores are Darius with 3, Imp with -4.
Sounds about right.
The chat has got 4, and I've got 2. So, Darius, you can still win this, or the chat could seal it with the next one. So, Tom's head is going to roll. Yeah. Here we go.
Hellbent for leather, isn't it?
Yes, Imp gets one. He's off the board.
Yeah,
he's on the board. Imp gets yes. Hellbent for leather on Killing Machine.
Good job.
Hellbent for leather. Hellbent.
So the last one. Well, if
seek him
Darius,
there, seek him on the highway.
Darius, if you don't get this one, the chat are going to win. There's a lot riding on this, as Rob would say.
And some heads are going to roll then.
So the last one, and it is an easy one.
Breaking the law.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, you got it.
Viva el Presidente!
Well played, Imp. And I'm pretty sure the chat would have got it within in seconds. Courtney got it, so the chat gets a point too. And we'll just have the
It's a good way to test the stream delay. Yeah, War
It
Machine
is.
300 breaking the law.
Yeah.
Courtney breaking the law. Yeah. How many seconds?
Yeah.
Breaking the law, breaking the law, breaking the law, breaking the law.
So there it was. That was my carefully constructed 10 favorite Judas Priest riffs. Thank you, everyone, for playing. The final scores.
You know what's funny? Grinder was not written about the app, but it could have been in
Could have
retrospect.
been.
Like it
It
could.
was- If Electric Eye is seen to be
Looking for me.
prophetic. So
It
it's-
is. It
Grindr was
absolutely
prophetic.
is.
So the chat
Predicted
wins
the
with
app, okay.
the chat got 5 out of 10. These don't add up to 10 if you add them up. But
Hey,
never
good
mind.
job, chat.
Good job, chat. Darius, you got 3. Imp was a late bloomer, and he got 2 in the end. And I got 2 that nobody else got.
Yeah.
I think I've got.
I
a
missed
feeling
one that I had brought up earlier in the show.
Well, you mentioned some of these tracks with this. I've got a feeling if Pope,
Yeah, I know.
Pope and John had been here, they would have killed you both. But never mind. You did a great job, though. I'm very proud of you. I'm proud of you. Brings a tear to my eye. I'm so proud. I'm so proud that the winners get this.
Your money maker, sit your money maker. You got to have the feeling, sure as you're born. Hey!
I'm pretty sure he sings "Show us your bone" there, which is a bit weird.
You know, if I had come in last place, I would be living bad dreams.
So we know. Hang on, I got to play this in the correct browser, or it may not play. Bill McClintock, who made that wonderful clip, he actually, Justin Proper, and I interviewed him recently, and I'm waiting for Justin to post that show on his channel. The latest video he's released this morning is a Judas Priest and Michael Jackson mashup. And it is new, but it's not, because he did it in 2019 and it got copyright blocked. In fact, he got a copyright strike for it. So because of the Michael Jackson part of it. So he's had to rejig it a bit, and he's reposted it this morning. And it's incredible, because there's us doing a Judas Priest show, and he's doing Judas Jackson, Billie Jean's got another thing coming. So, and I'm going to play this, and then I'll have to cut it out. I'll have to cut it out of the show later, because it'll be copyright struck to hell. However, it's as usual with Bill McClintock. It is awesome stuff, and we'll play a little bit of it if I can get it to play. Oh, there we go. And I guess if we talk over it and keep the volume down, we might get away with a little bit more. It just fits so well, though. I love these. I just love it.
I know.
At the end, we're not going to get that far, but he has the solo from Steely Dan's "Do It Again" as the solo at the end.
Yeah. I couldn't place it, but I knew that was from another song.
So that's at the end, yeah. It just seems to fit. And I could actually see...
Well, it does. I don't know why I never thought of
Michael Jackson in Judas Priest.
I would have gone to that show, especially in the 80s.
Absolutely. What a mashup that would have been. Judas Priest with guest star Michael Jackson.
Well, I mean, in the 90s, you had Anthrax touring with Public Enemy.
That's true. But then both kind of hard acts, so it kind of fits. Yeah. But Rob's vocal here is just incredible. Fits perfectly. I don't know what they're playing, though, because there's no guitar.
They're playing the drum machine.
Yeah. But this will inevitably have to cut out of the YouTube version. But Rumble will remain the unedited, definitive show. And thanks to Yafat Fuka. I get that now. Yafat Fuka. It must be British. It's been a trip listening to this. Well, thank you, buddy. But Yafat Fuka.
Oh, hey. Well, thank you.
Yafat Fuka, yeah.
Yeah, no.
We were going out on Twitter, and at least a few people have liked it, although they've not left any comments. But yeah, well done, Bill McClintock, for once again shoehorning Judas Priest into something. Undoubtedly, I'm going to be copyright struck to hell.
No, you can't shoehorn them in. They're always welcome everywhere. All right. Yeah. You might need a little bit of lube, but you can always fit them in.
So I would advise everyone to go and check out Bill McClintock and his latest epic, Judas Jackson, Billie Jean's Got Another Thing Coming. And look at all the other Priest ones he's got in there. And as I say, Justin Proper and I did interview him recently.
Oh, I have.
And I'm waiting for A Girl Like You. I'm waiting for him to post that on his channel. I have not painted. Hail to Dustin, Keto Simple Dustin, who should be on this show. And isn't for some reason. He should be here though. And he's saying, I've painted the ceiling on my office. No, it's a collage of Judas Priest albums behind me, which is always going to be really hard to see. But there it is. So that was Bill McClintock. And I think that probably wraps it up for everything that we had for today.
Wow.
To celebrate Judas Priest. Now, Invincible Shield is out. It's well worth a listen. Go on YouTube, listen to it, and if you like it, you can then obviously go buy it. Get a physical copy if you can. I'd put it in the... Currently right now, it's hovering between the B and A tier of Priest albums for me, but it has got 2 or 3 really good tracks on it, which is almost all you can expect these days. I mean, if a killer tracks that are S tier, so it's got some S tier on it, so that's good. But yeah,
The names of the recent albums are more like warrior themed, it seems, as opposed to the 80s run where at the end you started getting more double entendres, like Ram It Down and Turbo Lover. You mentioned Firepower. He says very underrated, and you love it. And then Valhalla was one, and then was that the full title, Valhalla?
Which track or album? I don't think
it was
Valhalla?
a more recent album, but it was hold on.
Well, hang on, let me call them up. Just hang on. Hang on there. Share to screen. Oh, from Birmingham again. I'm sharing to screen. Like, so recent stuff would include, when they came back, it was Angel of Retribution, Nostradamus, Redeemer of Souls, Firepower, and Invincible Shield. I keep calling it Invisible Shield, but that wouldn't make any sense. Here we go. Got it. So that's the returning Halford ones. So I can't remember all the track names because I can barely remember track names on old albums. But so
Redeemer Souls.
Yeah. And I don't know what the chart. Not that the charts matter now, but Firepower did do pretty well both in the UK and US in sales. So Invincible Shield should do quite well. I was hoping to unbox the special colored vinyl with 7-inch single EP. It hasn't arrived yet. So to thank me for the delay, Judas Priest sent me a 15% off merchandise.
Oh,
thank you. Thank you for allowing me to buy more merchandise. That's very good of them, wasn't it, Darius?
Yes, he was very good at that.
So Christian Delorme, thank you, my friend.
Oh, you know what? I'm thinking of the single from Redeemer of Souls. Yes, it was
single. Singles,
right?
It used to be a thing.
Also, Valhalla.
Christian
sort
Delorme's
of Damocles,
is hanging right over my head. Christian Delorme's
I was just watching.
Christian Delorme's vinyl revival for $5 Canadian. Wow, done already. Who would have thunk Brian did quickies? Well, I try to keep them to under 2 hours, and it ends up going to like 2.5 hours. But thank you, Christian, for that. I will have to play you a clip. I've already played some of the more egregious ones. What can I play this time? Oh, this one.
This is for me.
Fuck you! That's my name!
Very appropriate.
Very appropriate because it was for me.
Would you drive to work today?
I think that was pretty much everything I had for today. It is a shorter show because I'd intended to play more clips and I just kept getting copyright hammered on every clip I prepared. So, in the words of the prophet,
fuck you! That's my name!
So thank you everyone for being here. You've been of a small but perfectly formed crowd today. Given that we've done one of the more niche shows is on Judas Priest.
I see. I wouldn't have thought so. I mean, Judas Priest to me is like, well, they're top tier, of course. I used to use this service that I had to stop using because I became obsessive compulsive over it. Because it would track all the songs you listen to, but then it would miss the ones that it didn't catch. So, but I noticed that like Judas Priest went right up there near the top. So, I mean, to me, they're all-time greats. I wouldn't ever think of them as being niche. I mean, they're a huge act. The fact that they're still recording and touring and that they're they're among the most iconic in heavy metal history. You know, going back to, I mean, the whole leather and studs look goes back to them.
No, that's
I mean,
just
the
you.
way that. Well,
that's just you.
I mean,
yeah. I mean, I hear what you're saying.
the best way to tell your audience you're gay too.
That's right. I rate them so highly, but I do recall, and it's true. Back in the day, a lot of my buddies were metal and rock fans like me, but the normies didn't know who they were, and I call them normies. Your average pop picker only knew who they were because they had a couple of hit singles. So I tend to keep thinking of that, but probably I'm being unfair. I mean, they are a huge name internationally, filling out arenas and stadiums, headlining festivals, beloved now, quite rightly, in a way that metal, I think it's...
Yeah, they were the final act at Metal Masters. You know, they were the headliners.
Yeah, if you think, hey, John's here, hey, buddy.
Hey.
Shit, I wish I'd kept the music quiz till now. I didn't know if you were joining, and I did it already.
Well, that's okay.
I could do it again and see if you can guess. Were you listening to the show?
No, I was too busy rushing home. So,
would you like to be tested on the great 10 Judas Priest riffs in my quiz?
If you want me to fail, sure.
All right, okay.
I don't.
I thought you might know.
Hey, I failed at a lot more than I thought I would.
Well, after last week's performance, I'd rather not. So,
all right. Well, we won't redo it for you, but it's good to see you, mate. How are you?
That's what she said.
I'm doing good.
Working. You were working, obviously.
Yeah.
Was this what you were doing? Were you looking like this at work?
Just the hat. Just
the hat, right?
Just the hat. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as I say, I think it's Patty from The Jerk. That was her look. That we did last show. Or was that the show before? Can't remember. But yeah, they had last week. They had such great looks. There's obviously this one where Rob has got a cymbal cutting into his neck in an unfortunate drumming accident. But yeah, I think my view of this though is
You didn't think an American would get that, did you?
That's right. The 90s, because of that late 80s period of where Priest kind of got lumped with all these other metal bands. The glam metal bands were big, and then they tailed away. Interest in metal died away until the new metal bands kicked in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
And it took Priest a while to kind of pick that momentum up again. So I tend to think of them as, well, if I went out in the street today and asked somebody what they thought of Judas Priest, apart from being arrested for assault, who is this weirdo? They'd say, who? You know, that's my feeling, but you're with the zeitgeist, Darius. You know better.
I don't know, man. I'm about to be 37, in a couple of weeks. So,
yeah,
I'm an old man too now. But there was definitely a dead period in the 90s due to grunge. I mean, just for all of metal and for Doctor Who, coincidentally, and not because of grunge though. In the case of the Doctor, but it was. 2006, I think, was Angel of Retribution, and they came back with a vengeance. I believe that Rob copyrighted godofmetal.com because I remember buying a t-shirt. He had like these sick t-shirts back in, I think it was around 2009, 10 that you could buy that he was selling based on, merch like Judas Priest merch and stuff. And it wasn't like the band merch, but it was,
he had his own thing going.
Picture.
Yeah. But
I think because he won this ranking I watched of like the greatest heavy metal voices. So,
And he is.
to,
He's a
to consider them niche.
6-octave voice. Actually, my one complaint about him is he spends so much time doing that high-throated metal scream that you don't hear. He actually has a really good singing voice when he does the slower, older and slower material. You can hear him actually sing, and he's pretty damn good. It's just that because of the style of Priest, a lot of the time he's up here doing a lot of high-powered screeching, and but he has got a great voice just in general. You just don't hear it often. You actually hear it occasionally when he duets with people. He can actually sing stuff pretty well. But I actually think that what's happened is these bands, like many bands, Priest, it's the same with Sabbath and Dio, lived long enough to get back to being legendary status and overcome that 90s period when they were seen as passé or forgotten. So now they're looked at as legendary, even by younger people who don't even know who they are. Oh yeah, they're legendary, you know.
Yeah, I agree. And considering they're part of the second wave of British heavy metal, their longevity has been impressive. I mean, I don't think there's many bands that have been together as long as they have.
Yeah.
Now, granted, they've changed frontmen. You know, they've had some personnel changes over the years, but I mean, Judas Priest has been together as a unit for a long time.
Yeah, and we did talk about that in that. Yes, the 1969 iteration was a different band. But Ian Hill joined in 1970. KK Downing was hot on the heels of that. In fact, what happened was this Al Atkins guy who had the name Judas Priest, he basically, that version of Judas Priest, he said, well, it's not going on here, nothing's happening. He joined a band that KK Downing and Ian Hill were in, and they changed their name to Judas Priest, because they liked the name and they went, oh, we'll take that. So it was almost like a different band, but the name stayed the same. And Al Atkins was the connective guy, and then he left in 73. But from 74 onwards, the core band that we all knew was in place. So that's 50 years.
Yeah.
With Hill and Tipton going back.
Wow.
Hill going back further. Hill and KK back further. So 55 years.
Calling me a sweet baby, Courtney. No, they were all sweet babies then in 1974.
Yeah. So they come back to legendary status, and in their case, it's well earned. You know. Some acts that are called legendary, it's just because they've grown old enough to still be alive, and they're still producing at a high level, both live and on vinyl or on records. So that's great.
Yeah, I really like the new album.
Yeah, it's growing more on me. It's, it takes me a while now to really get into it, but as I say, the Serpent and the King, killer track. That's S tier.
Yeah, I like Panic Attack.
It's pretty good, that one too. And Giants in the Sky would be my other favorite. I do like that one. So, and there's some other stuff in there that's growing on me. I think it'll end up as kind of like an A tier. Eventually.
Yeah.
But I mean, if we were to talk about S tier Priest albums, what would you say?
Screaming for Vengeance, British Steel, back in the heyday, in the late 70s, early 80s.
Yeah. Darius, you mentioned a few earlier, but if you were to pick like S tier.
S tier, yeah. A British Steel is a classic, but I don't think I would put it at S tier for my personal taste. Screaming for Vengeance, yeah, I would. Defenders of the Faith is definitely S tier for me. Painkiller is absolute S tier. Yeah, so if I get to pick two, those are my two, because those are my most listened to in their entire catalog.
Yeah, I could get that. I mean, these are
Killing
phenomenal.
Machine is really good.
These are phenomenal albums. Yeah. Imp, I don't know if you're that big on the albums.
Not really, no.
Okay, that's the end of that.
Not enough
Too much milk.
small children being sacrificed for Imp.
That's right.
No.
Well, the
It's too
Simpsons.
soft. you
The
know?
Simpsons called them death metal, so come on.
No.
I mean, dude, the Scrubs referred to Devil Driver as speed metal. I mean, it's you can't really expect the TV show. They do it all the time, but it happens. We know that they're gonna be wrong about a lot of things, unless that person is like a featured guest on the episode.
Yeah, I mean, I would for S tier, I would definitely have British Steel and Screaming for Vengeance as S tier. I'd be sorely tempted to put Painkiller as a sort of S minus, if there was such a thing, because there isn't on most tier things. And any of and like if I wasn't picking a studio album, I'd put Unleashed in the East in S tier as well. So
Oh yeah,
yeah, and
most bands only get one shot at glory, but Judas Priest, came back.
They did. They came back, which is not easy in the rock world. Once you're done, you're usually done.
Yeah, and it's all living after midnight.
Yeah, and they'd have to be out there breaking the law to make a living, and then they'd have another thing coming. I don't think though, if you look at that tiering thing, and I was toying with doing it, but I've never done one live before, so I don't know if I will. But I don't think they've got a D tier. Even Turbo is C tier for me.
Yeah, I wouldn't put it any lower than C.
Yeah, I don't think they got any Ds or double Ds.
No, but a lot of their groupies do.
Rock and roll as a D.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. People love shitting on Rock and Rolla, but I wouldn't even put that.
It's a C. It's a different. It's a different sound.
Easily a C.
Different sound.
Yeah.
They weren't the same musicians as they became. It was a different sound. So,
It's Sad Wings still holds up. I'm amazed to this day that Sad Wings of Destiny still sounds as good as it does. I was just listening to it a few weeks ago. It's amazing. It's only their second album, and Priest fans know, but dude, and the cover art is sick.
oh look, I did have this thing. Right.
Oh yeah, there it is. Yeah, it's a different sound. Oh my god, so many YouTubers use that exact chart.
I know it's the same one. All right, briefly, we'll do this quickly. So we can argue about them later, but Screaming for Vengeance, British Steel, for me are those two. Now, what did you say, Darius, as S tier? What did you have as S?
I put Defenders of the Faith and Painkiller as my S tier.
My eyes are getting so sore. That's Painkiller. Where's Defenders of the Faith? I can't even see this. I need my glasses.
It is from the end.
That one.
There.
Yeah, it's got the lion. The metal lion.
I've got my glasses on.
It's got the Power Rangers cover.
I can just see color.
Yeah, there you go.
I don't think there's any D tiers, but I would say Rock and Roll is C tier.
I'd put Turbo there too.
Turbo is probably go C tier.
Yeah. Don't you dare put Nostradamus at C tier.
Well, where do you want it? I would put it in B.
No, apparently everyone else does.
I'd put it in B.
Right, I'm okay with that.
So, any other Bs? Sad Wings of Destiny, maybe. Again, I can't see the bloody covers, my eyes.
I mean, what's a great song on Ram It Down, though? I mean, I can't even remember off the top of my head. I don't really go listen to that one, so I'd probably put that at C.
Blood Red Skies. Ram It Down's not one of the greats.
Yeah.
Is that Ram It Down there? I can't see properly. Forgive me if I get the wrong one. That's Ram It Down, yeah. Killing Machine for me would be A, Hellbent for Leather in the US, but Killing Machine is an A. I think Stained Clash is an A for me. That's for me.
Angel of Retribution has to be at least A, right?
I don't know. What do you think, John?
I'd put it at B.
I'm gonna put it B. I outvote Darius. Point of entry we said was going to be what?
And that one. Yeah.
Now firepower for me is an A. Could be an S, but it's an A. I'll put it as A. Can't have everything as S.
What about demolition? B.
B. Let's have it as a B. I mean, it doesn't mean there's not great tracks on all of them.
That's a B. Okay.
Well, it's got Machine Man on it, so
I thought you were going to put that as C.
I'm trying to balance them out. So what are we left with? Well, we're left with the Angel of Retribution.
That's a B.
That's a B.
Yeah.
Darius?
Because I would put that at A, but you guys both said B. I get outvoted, but still, I think that's a great.
I'll
album.
put it as an A.
It even has a nice ballad on it. You know,
Sin After Sin's
with
a B.
Angel.
What have we got left? Jugulator.
Yeah, that's that. I would put that at C, but that's just me.
Yeah.
And then what's this? Sad Wings of Destiny.
I think so.
Oh man, come on, that's got to be A.
Is that Sad Wings of Destiny? I can hardly see that.
That's Sad Wings of Destiny. Yeah.
I already made the case for that one.
I'm tempted for it to be an A.
Yeah, we can put it in A.
It's different.
I already made my case for it.
So I don't know if anyone in the chat agrees or disagrees with that, but that is our very quick. Any changes we need to make?
This always divides the crowd, which I love because it gets them involved.
I can live with that. It's a good.
Yeah, I can live with that.
We got the important ones on S tier, so that's the big deal.
Yeah. So I'm happy with that.
I love it.
I'm happy with that. Yeah, if I was to put live albums in, Unleashed in the East would be S tier for me as well. Look, I don't care about the other ones. That one I care about. Yeah. That's not bad because there's a little bit of a mix of old and new. Now, Invincible Shield is not here.
D-Bud.
D-Bud, thanks, buddy.
Time.
Anyway, that would be it for today then, definitely. Now that we've done that, but we should do this more often.
Once a week. Why not?
Yeah, now that I've figured out how to do it.
Starting next week, I'll actually be here closer to 5 o'clock.
Well, so let's talk about next week. Next week we are doing Canon Film Club, Breaking and Breaking 2.
Awesome.
Oh my god. Oh, I can't believe I haven't seen The Jerk, but I've seen Breaking 2.
We're going to do Breaking and Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo.
You really worry me.
So next week, Canon Film Club, everybody, Breaking and Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo. We're going to have some fun. God knows how many clips I can't play because of music. We'll certainly have Jean-Claude Van
on
Damme.
YouTube.
Boogaloo. I wish I had the.
I know you have that clip.
I don't have that clip in this profile on the side. But that clip will get a lot. Jean-Claude Van Damme dancing will get a lot of play. I have other Canon clips here, but not that one.
Today.
Yeah. I wish I had it here. Anyway, so that's next Monday. Before I talk about everything else, I'd like to thank everyone that's been in the chat today. Over in Rumble, we've had Yafat Fuka, and we've had a Horror Stream, and we've also had a bot, which...
Oh, hey.
I'm trying to delete
it the porn kind?
No, it's Cash something or other. So Yanafuka Horror Stream, thanks for watching and chatting over there, guys. Really appreciate it. And thanks to everybody else that was watching over there in Rumble. As I say, if I have to trim anything out of this show, that one remains untouched as the definitive version. Over here on YouTube, lots of great people. We have the mods, D-Bud Martin, Davina, Lord Thoth, Canadian Spider-Man, Courtney was here, Dustin was here in the chat. We had Massgrave. Good to see you, buddy. Christian, of course, Christian Delorme. Thanks for the super chats, buddy. Sumo Orange, thank you too for the super chat. Anima Confusa was here. I'm going to miss someone I know, and I apologize. David Glenn, War Machine 300 was here. Basco Scenario was here. As I say, forgive me if I miss you. I'll go off and cry by myself whilst humming All by Myself by Eric Carmen. But thank you all. Andy Morrow was here for a while. Good to see you all. It's been a great chat. You've all been very lovely. Lovely. John, my friend, thank you for making it towards the end. What else have you been up to?
Well, I'm still doing gaming on Pop Culture Minefield, and I'm also in the process of moving, so that's taken up a lot of my time.
And is this a far move, or?
No, I'm just moving closer to my job.
Okay.
So I'm moving 30 miles away. So.
Well, look forward to you making it in here next Monday if you can, mate. That'll be fantastic.
I should be there about 5:10, 5:15, because I'm literally like 5 to 7 minutes from my house, my new place. So
cool. Well, good luck with that. I've moved so many times, I've forgotten how many times I've moved, and I've hated it. And when I think back to the money I spent moving, I go, shit. Because I could have, because I did retire. I said I'm going to retire and live off my savings. So I did. That was day one. Day two, I didn't know what to do. because that was the savings gone.
Well, I've moved once in the last 13 years, so.
Right. Oh, I got, yeah, lucky you. I'm sick of moving, but never again, hopefully. Imperatus, my curmudgeonly friend, what are you up to?
Not a whole lot. I will be on Brahma Bull's channel tomorrow for the usual Tuesday night gaming shenanigans at 10 p.m. Eastern, that is. Other than that, work isn't really letting me have too much time to myself to get things done, unfortunately.
Well, I'm damn glad you could make it in here today, mate. Thank you, as always, for your support, buddy. Appreciate it. Darius, Leather Rebel, Magic Roundabout Lover. What are you up to, my friend?
Oh. Well, when my computer is not shutting down on me, I am. Well, I'm listening to you, even when I'm not actually in here. I've always got you on. Last week's show was pretty great. Other than that, I got a lot of stuff going on outside of the internet. Yes, Meat Space exists, but you know, I have a backup laptop that I got on Black Friday. I'm trying to set it up without having to log into 365. Yeah, you guys know how it is. But yeah, no, I'll try to be here as much as I can. You know, Lady Munchausen is very accommodating in that way. Yeah,
miss you, and I miss the others that couldn't make it today. Pope, Courtney, Dustin, and all the other stragglers and hangers on. I mean, guests. No, the core guys and Joe, our wonderful friend Joe. They'll be back next week, I'm sure, for Canon Film Club. Thanks for being here. To you three, thank you to the chat. As for me, no point in talking about the rest of the week, but tonight, later on, you will see me over on Comics Division for Monday Night Meltdown. And then tomorrow night, it's Toxic Tuesday on Nick's channel, and I'm buggered if I can remember the name of the movie we're doing. Well, I hope not literally, because that would be painful.
I just saw that. I can't remember it. I just saw Nick advertising that.
What are we going to do next? It's Red. I wanted to say Red Dawn, but not Red Dawn. Red Heat. No. I can't remember, but we'll figure it out. So Toxic Tuesday on Nick's channel tomorrow, and the rest of the week will unfold as it will. Hope you all have a great night, everybody. Thanks again for being here. Take care and keep on rocking.